Hi there, and welcome on the journey to transform culture. I'm Steve, and I'll be your guide. Well, folks, today, hope you're having a fantastic day to begin with. I hope everybody's having a really good day and an even better week. Some challenging temperatures out there. We're in the dead of summer currently as I shoot this video, and I got some breezes blowing out there, so I don't know what's going on. It's a wild year of weather. But I hope you're not struggling too much and you don't have too many, terrible things going on, weather or otherwise, in your world. All right, folks. Well, today we're going to jump into, are you a multi-purpose tool? You might be asking yourself, Steve, what are you talking about? What do you mean, am I a multi-purpose tool? Did you just call me a tool? Yes and no. I didn't call you a tool in the way you think I did. But I'm asking, are you a multi-purpose tool? And I'll give you an example right here. I've got a multi-purpose tool. And some of you may have used tools, hopefully, and some of you may not. So some of you may not be a multi-purpose tool. But in a multi-purpose tool, typically, right, you open it up, got these handy dandy needle nose pliers, and they're all different, right? So different multi-purpose tools have different tools. You've got, of course, a knife blade. You've got can opener, bottle opener, okay? You've got, what do we got over here? We got a file over here on this side. Looks like a flathead and Phillips screwdriver and a couple others in there that are teeny tiny. I won't pull out just to save time, but multi-purpose tool. What is the value of a multi-purpose tool? Sorry for the wind. But the value of a multi-purpose tool is that you can use it on multiple jobs, right? If I needed to go over and tighten the door handle, right, I can do that with the Phillips feature on here. If I needed to use the needle nose to fish out, a staple or anything, I could use that to fish something out with, something fine, where I needed a point. If I needed to cut something, I have the knife blade, and so on and so forth. I have all of that wrapped up into a nice, handy multi-purpose tool. So the analogy today is, as I set this down so I'm not waving it all around, the analogy is are you a multi-purpose tool? Are you someone who can do multiple things? Now, hopefully, if you're watching this video, you do a few things already. And, I think of folks, I'm a grandparent, my kids are grown now, but I'm a grandparent. But I think as you're developing your family, for example, you don't have the option. If you need to fix something, a lot of times you need to figure it out. You need to learn. And some things that we learn, some skill sets we get, on our building of ourselves as multi-purpose tools is through necessity, right? Learning how to do this or learning how to do that. I mean, so many things around a home or a house or apartment or whatever that you need to do. Oh, I need to change out a light, or I want to put up a ceiling fan, or all these things. And then, of course, there is knowing that, hey, I am a multi-purpose tool, but one of the tools that I am is knowing my limits too, right? I'm not a plumber or an electrician. So there's some things that you have to defer, right? But that's okay. Having that knowledge and that wisdom, know thyself, right? Know thyself is part of one of the tools you have that make up you as a multi-purpose tool. But oftentimes what happens in organizations, and it doesn't really matter if it's your work, professional organization that way, or civic and so on and so forth, other groups you're involved with, is a lot of times we push aside all the other skill sets that we have, and we just hone in on the one or two. And when we do that, what happens is a lot of times it creates a stagnation, right? If there's a situation, now granted, you got to follow your policies, processes, and procedures. You don't want to be running out there doing electrical work if you're not an electrician, right? And plumbing work the same way. But if there's, and I'm not even just talking about physical things, it may be, accounting things or different department skill level things. But that doesn't mean as a multi-purpose tool, you can't assist in some of those areas. I'm not a financial person, but I can go do an audit, right? So, and oftentimes I've discovered many things looking through records, right? And opportunities to make fixes or improve upon things. I remember one outfit, we're spending like over 5K a month, maybe 6K a month for somebody just to stand at the front gate. And this wasn't a place that was making, high tech equipment or anything you could really carry off. Okay. So it was just, something that had been held over. Nobody thought to question it. But when we absorbed that in, we were able to use those resources to improve upon other things and take care of the team in other ways and so on and so on, and the customers, right? So sometimes being a multi-purpose tool, right? And this a lot of times what makes a decent leader at site level and beyond is that you've done enough things to have enough experience and wisdom to ask the right questions. You may not know exactly, right? But you can ask the right questions. And in doing that, you can elicit or evoke someone who is doing the particular work that you might be looking at and so on to think a little differently through a different lens. And you can bring an outside the box perspective. Now, obviously, the more the more refined you are. Like if this multi-purpose tool was also, has surgical tools, right? That would be far and beyond my capabilities, right? But not everyone's, right? So if it was a first aid, if there was first aid tools in there, I might have to learn what to do in that case. Oftentimes when we get first aid kits, usually the bigger ones too, you have booklets. This is why we review some of these things, right? Often, or once a year at least. And review these things so we know how to operate. AEDs, for example, is a good example of something that we do training for, right? To take care of people in emergency situations. So being a multi-purpose tool isn't just kind of, we can't just rely on the linear aspect of what our title says we do. In fact, some of the reasons I end up improving organizations and going into that arena more so is because I've done so many different things in so many very different industries that I can pick up on things pretty quickly. And a value stream is a value stream. So, once you start plugging and playing all the pieces and parts, you can pick up on it pretty quickly, know where to ask the right questions, and find constraints pretty quickly as well. The difficulty having your face so close to your own organization or the issues you deal with every day, a lot of times you're walking around problems that you meant to fix 6 months ago, or they're mounting things, right, that you just haven't gotten to. So part of being a multi-purpose tool is also learning how to improve, but you can't improve by yourself. One person can't do it alone. It takes a team. This is another facet. One of these tools, one of our multi-purpose tools is building cohesive teams. And not everyone is versed in building cohesive teams. There are those who are, engineered by trade or other functional, IT, all the, strictly functional support elements within an organization, unless they're a software, company, then they're the majority. But typically, right, you have different departments. And if folks are so linearly focused, when they get into the arena of team leadership and leading broader teams from multiple departments, one of the assumptions can be that, they'll be great because they do great in their department. Well, they may, right? There's always the possibility. But if they're not trained, mentored, and they haven't been working toward that kind of in the buildup, and guess what? They're probably not going to be that great. And it may create a suffering of your team cohesion. In fact, there are people who are in leadership roles now, and I've seen where companies are just revolving door leaders every year, right? Or maybe a little more than that, but often, very often. And why is that? Well, they're not growing them, or they got somebody who they thought met the criteria, but they wanted a multi-purpose tool. They wanted somebody who could handle diverse problems and situations, and it's different. Hey, I'm going to tell you what, folks, it's different if you're the person who's driving a brand new bus, fully fueled and you're driving that bus and you're just like, yeah, I'm driving this bus. It's a brand new bus. It's not broken. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, put that same bus, or add 30 years to that bus, break it down, wheels are all cockeyed, things are wrong with it, right? The team's disgruntled, the passengers are disgruntled, the thing doesn't steer correctly, and then put that on a NASCAR track and say, hey, we need to compete, we need to be in the top 10%, right? Wow. What kind of expectations do we have now? They're not super realistic. Well, I can guarantee you what, the linear leaders aren't going to get you there, but a multi-purpose tool, somebody with multi-purpose tool aspects to their way. And if you're hiring, hey, how much do you see yourself as a multi-purpose tool and how you get things done and overcome problems and challenges and so on? And just let them go on, tell you how they're like a multi-purpose tool. They may be completely caught off guard, but let them digest the question and then let them, because more often than not, people have done that. And what can happen too is in our junior part of our careers, we can be more of a multi-purpose tool, but over time, we lose the multi-purpose tool aspect of us. And we end up becoming a linear leader, and we've forgotten more than we once knew, right? So this is another reason why we want to cultivate teams that can see themselves as multi-purpose tool, that are always wanting to grow and develop and reach beyond their grasps so that they can get to a different place. Because think about it, you're always cultivating everybody in your organization. You should see all of them, even if they're brand new employees. One day they're going to be a leader in some way, in some capacity, somehow. If you treat them all like that, then you're going to put the time and energy and effort. They're going to appreciate that. They're going to give you the time, they're going to give you the energy and effort back, obviously the time, to take care of customers very well, right? And they're going to become some fantastic multi-purpose tools, right? And then they're going to continue that tradition on as well. And it becomes an exponential potential, right? You're taking advantage of an exponential potential, but we also have to, for the we'll say the ownership side of the house, you also have to invest in the opportunities to help folks become multi-purpose tools. And you aren't, and this is difficult. I'm not trying to say this is simple. Look, it took me 30 or 40 years to get to where I am, to be able to handle many different things. But you don't necessarily have 30 or 40 years, right? You don't. But working together, you can get folks to much better state. And by kind of cultivating that early on and recognizing that and working on the team's development, you're going to see a return. But you have to give them time, and space to be able to grow, and let them work on some improvement projects, and it's okay. They're going to improve stuff, and they're going to screw it up a little bit. Not screw it up bad. They're just not going to be the most effective. But that's fine. It's a learning. It's learning. That's what you take into the next event. If you're trying to be a perfectionist about doing an event, you're all wrong. You're all wrong, because much of it, brainstorming and getting together and creating that synergy with a group, part of that is a loose process of creativity. Okay, so multi-purpose tool. You really want to become a multi-purpose tool. Now, I didn't call you a tool. Let's just be clear on that. Okay, but you might be a multi-purpose tool. And here's another thing for those of you out there who are looking for your up-and-comers who are maybe ready for a lead or supervisory and so on and so forth, all the way up the line. Look for those, because you'll be surprised. There are those who don't have, the highest formal education and all that sort of thing, but they've been to many different departments or realms or experiences, and you may have multi-purpose tool right within grasp. You may have a few of them. And if you get a few of those folks and turn them loose on some of your internal projects, oh my gosh, you will be impressed with what they bring. That's how it worked with me as well. Although I was working on my education and all that stuff along the way in the Air Force. But anyway, long story short, folks, you want to be a multi-purpose tool. Don't be afraid. Don't be a perfectionist. Don't worry about all that. Just give your team time and opportunity and resources to work on their skills to become a multi-purpose tool for your organization. And then that will transmit over into their own lives, because the creativity and success that they find professionally, right, will transmit over into their personal life too. And they'll have a can-do attitude about things. They'll have a I'll figure it out attitude. They'll have an inquisitive attitude and a way about them to be able to go out and pursue, problem solving and learning. That's what you want. All right, folks, that's all for today. Remember to hit that good green domino 3 to 5 times a day to uplift, motivate, inspire, and just encourage folks. When we do that, not only are we helping culture to improve, but we're helping the organization, we're helping our families, we're helping our local establishments and culture as well. And that's special, right? Just as it is special as it's improving us as well. All right, folks, hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take care.